Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has dismissed a notice circulating widely in both social and traditional media platforms, purportedly issued by the government of the Kingdom of Cambodia regarding alleged immigration measures targeting African nationals residing in Cambodia. This follows an earlier statement by the General Department of Immigration under Cambodia's Ministry of Interior, which categorically described the said notice as completely false and misleading. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs further disclosed that in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, it has facilitated the evacuation of 85 Ghanaian nationals who expressed the desire to return to Ghana between March and May 2026. Additionally, arrangements are currently underway to facilitate the return of another 76 Ghanaian nationals presently in Cambodia, who have also indicated their willingness to come back home. Now moving on, government has welcomed what it describes as a historic apology by His Holiness Pope Leo XIV over the role of the Holy See in transatlantic slave trade. In a statement issued by the presidency on Thursday, government said the Pope's acknowledgement of the Church's role in legitimizing and sustaining the enslavement of Africans and transatlantic slave trade represents an act of moral courage and important contribution to the global pursuit of truth, dignity, and justice. Here are excerpts of the statement on the video wall. Now, presidency on Pope Leo XIV's statement on transatlantic slave trade. As a nation deeply connected to history and legacy of the transatlantic slave trade, with the most forts and castles along its coast standing as enduring reminders of one's humanity of darkest chapters, Ghana remains committed to working with international partners, faith communities, civil society, and peoples of conscience around the world to advance efforts aimed at historical justice, remembrance, and restoration of human dignity. In this regard, Ghana looks forward to welcoming the international community to Accra from 17th to 19th June 2026 for the high-level consultative conference being convened by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, on the next steps following the adoption of the resolution aimed at sustaining global engagement on historical justice, remembrance, and human dignity. It is also our hope and prayer that states which do not support the resolution would, in the near future, align with its objectives and join Ghana and the broader international community in advancing its effective implementation. Now moving on, the Ghana Meteorological Agency says decades of underinvestment, aging equipment, vandalism, and staff shortages continue to affect the country's weather monitoring and forecasting systems. Speaking to Metro News, Deputy Director General of the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Dr. Ignatius Williams, disclosed that many of the agency's weather stations became obsolete over time due to deteriorating equipment and lack of maintenance. He further highlighted some challenges faced by the agency.
From the 90s, we used to have a lot of stations scattered around the country. I think roughly between 500 to 600 of them. But over time, because of the state of the equipment, malfunctioning, some of them becoming a bit obsolete and going beyond their lifespan. We also have issues of theft and vandalism of our equipment in certain places, and more importantly, staffing. With most of these stations, we had manual observers who would go there, collect information when it comes to temperatures, rainfall that were reported in different parts of the country. And so once the number of these equipment were being reduced, or the people who were there to be able to collect this information either leave the agency or going on retirement, there needed to be more sort of like a succession plan to be able to help people go in there and then take information for us. But
Dr. Williams stressed that the current number of weather stations remains inadequate compared to international standards. The institution is therefore pursuing a major retooling agenda through amendments to its governing legislation to attract more funding for modern weather infrastructure.
Currently, if we are supposed to go by certain standards, you literally want to have at least within a 5 to 10 kilometer radius, have at least a weather station situated in these spots. But it becomes quite financially draining to be able to have some of these progressions. And with the state of the agency also, we'd like to acknowledge we call it the retooling of the GMET agency, which is now being driven by our sector minister through the amendment of our act. Now, this is trying to bring in more funding to the agency, and through that, we'll be able to accomplish that. So we are looking at weather radars, automatic weather observing systems. We are looking at automatic weather stations. We are looking at marine ocean buoys. These are a lot of equipment that you need, and they are very capital intensive.
Let's look at some topical stories. And severe spillage of the Wager Dam has left residents of Tetegu and several homes submerged, prompting the Gamanche to order residents in affected areas to evacuate within 48 hours for their safety. Authorities have begun emergency response measures at Tetegu after floodwaters entered homes, displacing residents and forcing many families to seek temporary shelter.
Currently, I'm at Tetegu, and around me you can see the extent to which the spillage has gone to. Around me, houses have been abandoned. People have left their homes. Water has submerged homes.
We need the canalization, the gutter, and the river to be dredged. Simple, and the area will be free. The area will be free because surely the dam will be full and the dam will be open. Surely, so they have to know the time, and before opening the dam, they have to open the barrier over there too, so that once the water is coming, the water should flow. It is a necessary thing to be done. We are human beings. It was supposed to be done.
In fact, there's a beginning the announcement say BBC BC. But now I do so when I did a CBS. But anybody wants on an I say, here all is flooded. Then you may say, Bonibians when see a woman say, no, maybe one of my kind of home. Then you have a toy. Tonight you want to say, Nina Muno, Yamber Boy. Tears were the mass so say no more, but nearby no yes ramping for say. A motion of Muntimia be being far with whom I quick now in soon to Minkona and why.
This is my first time of experiencing this flooding, and it's been quite challenging. But God has been with us. We have been able to accommodate most of the people in our church, and even we are able to feed them. We have been able to feed some of them. And then at least the community is having trust, and then it's relying on the church to at least provide them with a safe place to occupy. So I think we are doing our bit. By God's grace, we are fine. Right. Before then, there were announcements, but you see some of them, they have nowhere to go. So probably they will still be in. The challenges are there, but where are they going? So we had pre-announcement and so on and so forth, but yet these challenges are bound to happen, so we take it. Right. We are expecting the government, or at least stakeholders, to come to our aid. I want to tell all our fellow members, or our colleagues, our church members, that these are some of the challenges. Sometimes they are inevitable, but sometimes we have a way of dealing with it. And we trust that this will never happen again. It is a trust. We don't have the control, but we trust that it wouldn't happen again. And with God, all things will be possible for us.
And so, at Tetegu, we came here with the Greater Accra Regional Minister and the Gamanche. The Gamanche has given a 48-hour ultimatum to people who are still in their houses to evacuate, to save their lives and go to safe havens, places that have been provided for people who have nowhere to go to occupy.
Today, there is an evacuation order, and you have about 48 hours to adhere to it. You cannot stay here any longer because at 4.2 at the level of the dam, everything here is at risk, including human lives and property. We will leave property and save lives to the safe haven NADMO, the regional minister, which is the regional coordinating council, have created for all who will be evacuated to the center. Please, in 48 hours, let's leave this space. Leave this property behind and save your life. Cha no manyaba. Yes.
And so the Greater Accra Regional Minister also, in an interview with Metro News, says though there has not been any casualty, she's also urging people to save their life first.
So far, so good. They've not recorded any casualties. And NADMO, together with the MCE and the Assembly member, they've really done so well. So let me commend them. From here, we'll visit those that has been evacuated and see to their welfare. I've directed MCE to make sure that they attend to them. NADMO has also given some relief items like mattresses, blankets, what have you, rice, oil, what have you. So I'll say that we'll be monitoring closely, but we are pleading with residents here to make sure that, they adhere to the instructions that has been given. And
so currently at Tetegu, my name is Vanessa Edotumbuating, reporting for Metro News.
Now moving on, CEO of Financial Intelligence Center, Kojo Chumbuafo, speaking on Good Morning Ghana, disclosed that Accra is below the water table while advising proper management of settlements. This follows the submersion of houses and etc. by Ghana's perennial flood problems. NPP National Treasurer, Hopeful Alfred Thompson, called on the ruling NDC to fix the problems instead of lamenting.
A lot of Accra is under the water table. And when engineers talk about water table, the water table is the upper level of soil or rock where runoff water fully saturates. Okay. So, for example, if you go to my hometown, Ekopon is about 2,000 feet above the water level. Mm-hmm. So, Ekopon will never flood. Yeah. Because when it rains, it moves downwards. But the runoff from the rains in the Kwapim Hills comes down to Accra and heads towards the sea. Okay. You see, we can't cheat nature. Back to the days of the colonial administration, Accra's water table was mapped out. Many of the areas in which we live now is below the water table. And we haven't managed the geodetic disposition of the areas in which we live in properly. Okay? So there are areas that nobody should live in. Right? But people have lived there. You cannot get away with cheating nature. We have to have an approach that we will not allow unplanned areas to exist.
My brother has already lamented for me, so now what I'll say is that your solutions you have, please put it on the table for your government to fix. Fix them. You were voted into power to fix the problems, not to lament on TV. Tell your minister, if she will not listen, let them change it. Like how you always send messages here that we don't know what we are about as a opposition party. Opposition is for us to come with some of these things you are lamenting about, for you to fix it. But now you have given me solutions to all the perennial flood problems that have gone on. Wasn't it the same government that recently, before this flood started, last year somewhere, they took a helicopter and in fact, moved the whole of Accra and put a deputy chief of staff there that he was going to be in charge of fixing these floods? It's become worse. Kojo and Moro, it's become worse. In fact, it was the waste of taxpayers' money to move that helicopter to take off.
Flood-related matters, the president of the Institution of Engineering and Technology Ghana, Engineer Wanda Davo, has attributed persistent flooding in parts of the country to poor urban planning and unchecked development. Speaking on Metro TV's Newsnight, he said the excessive concreting of land and failure to preserve natural water absorption areas are worsening flood risks.
And so that is what they are supposed to be doing. First of all, we have what we call Special Planning Authority for the Assembly, where they look at the area to say that this area was going to be a residential area, and this is how we are going to plan it. The law, that is the Land Use and Special Planning Act, made provision for them to do all this. And there is also another LI, which is LI 2465, which gives them the power to say that if you are coming to build on this piece of land, you are supposed to leave this portion unbuilt. That is to say, maybe 1/3 of your plot is supposed to be left unbuilt. But the other aspect of it is that they are supposed to say that, okay, when the one that you are leaving unbuilt, supposed to be the area that has to be greened, or it's supposed to be the area has to be concreted. And that one, it's not stated explicitly in the law. But assemblies have the right to pass their bylaws to say that where you are living, you are supposed to leave some areas to be green. In order that whenever we have runoff, some of them will be percolated, and then we can have the underground water replenished. And then the one that will be left on the surface will be few, so we don't have flooding.
Now, government is intensifying its fight against illegal mining as an 800-acre reclamation drive has begun at Nkrofo, the birthplace of Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, to repair the devastation left by Galamsey. There's more in this report.
For years, illegal miners have left behind deep, dangerous pits filled with rainwater. Residents say they are a constant threat to children. Nkrofo Agriculture Senior High School has been badly hit. Months ago, a student drowned in one of these pits behind the school.
Yankasa Nipadiana Yedit, Daddy Yachuchamu, Yachucha Yakuma, Yachucha Bibia, I say, to say any tree, a Quambena, Yabayana, yes, you know. Namana Fefe, Send Yamiankasa boy and Beguhan at him. Sa Yanyahuanabe. Tidano pay, maybe made the good news that every President John Mahama House say. Yashase wa Shanti region kakra ne yadua se nsasia ya say na 3 communities be na wa line so nso nsasia asaya ye be ye hu adwuma no omo asusu no is over 800 acres.
Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa is Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. In view of the disturbing devastation of several acres of land and vegetative cover, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has handed over 800 acres of mined-out land along the River Subri to RM Eco Restore Ghana Limited for full restoration.
To some more environmental stories, young African innovators garden in Accra for the second edition of the Climate Champion competition to showcase innovative solutions aimed at tackling climate change and promoting sustainable development across the continent.
Organized by Startup Discovery Africa, the Climate Champion competition is a pitch program aimed at identifying and supporting young innovators to develop practical solutions to environmental challenges across the continent. The initiative provides a platform for entrepreneurs to present ideas in areas such as renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, waste management, and climate adaptation, while connecting them with mentors, investors, and industry experts to help scale their solutions. Natasha Dazi is the Chief Executive Officer of Startup Discovery Africa. She also noted that this year's edition focused on young entrepreneurs who are actively working in their respective fields and are widely recognized for their innovations and impact.
our second edition of the Climate Champion Competition, an initiative that we have run to identify climate innovators, nurture them, provide them with coaching and funding to be able to scale up the impact of their solutions in their communities and on the environment. We have come together as an organization to identify solutions that will help tackle the impact of climate change on the continent. I'm happy to say that yes, we've been doing this in Ghana. We have worked closely with almost 100 founders across different sectors tackling climate change. Just last week, we expanded into Nigeria. Our idea is that over the next 6 months, we're going to expand our footprint across West Africa to be able to identify, nurture, and support climate innovators to help them scale the impact of their solution on the continent.
The Climate Champion competition continues to serve as a platform for nurturing young climate innovators.
Now, the family of the late Apostle Dr. Engineer Kojo Safo has held a press conference to update the public on final funeral rites arrangement. During the briefing, the family also unveiled the official funeral cloth that will be used to honor the memory of the renowned apostle. Former MP for Dome Kwabenya and daughter of the late apostle, Sarah Joa Safo, addressed a new conference.
That the Kantanka family, the Kotoko family, it's a very large family. We have our brothers and sisters from Cameroon, we have some from Chad, and all across the world. The earlier date that was put up, 25th of June, having consulted all our family members across the world, and their preparations to come and honor their beloved son, their beloved father, their beloved uncle, indicated that the time was too short for them to plan their coming and to come and pay their last respect to our late father. We couldn't have been unaccommodating, so we had to take that into consideration. And for that matter, we all met as a family, we all met as church leaders, we all met as children again to have a real look at that 25th June date. And we came to that conclusion, having consulted the Asantira, the Asante of 82 II, who we informed of this new development and approved the 30th of July for the burial service of our late father. So everything we say here, we have been in consultation with all relevant parties. We've been in consultation first with Otumfuo. He's given his blessing. He's aware that we are addressing the press today. We've consulted church leadership, and they're all here also to show their support for the new date.
Let's take some regional stories now. And pupils and teachers of Achimpano Presbyterian Basic School in the Eastern Region on Tuesday, May 26, staged a peaceful demonstration through the principal streets to protest against the repeated defecation in their classrooms by unidentified persons.
Wearing red armbands and holding placards, the pupils marched through the town chanting solidarity songs and calling for urgent intervention to end what they described as a growing public health threat affecting academic work. Residents say the repeated acts, which reportedly involve the breaking of classroom doors at night, have become a major setback to teaching and learning, with pupils and teachers often forced to clean human waste from classrooms before lessons can begin. Speaking during the protest, PTA Chairman Alhaji Isa Al-Hassan confirmed that the issue has become a serious concern for both staff and pupils.
Na obi be sole afini fie didi na wa ba school mu sa school dan mu na oba be ko toilet ye no ani say na amen enti am school for na ye dede na anti krom. Se wo free he fa se wo free he ɛna waba sɛ woba bɛkɔ toilet wɔ school mu yɛnsa kan wa in fact yɛmfa nkyɛw.
Headmistress of the school said the demonstration was necessary to draw attention to the hardship pupils and teachers endure each morning due to the repeated cleaning of human waste from classrooms before academic activities commence.
Morning, we have to demonstrate through the principal streets here, just to let the community know that we are tired of sweeping, we are tired of scrubbing. It's just uncalled for. So we are pleading that this will be a medium to help us curb this situation.
She appealed to authorities, community leaders, and general public to respond swiftly to the school's concern and help bring the unfortunate situation to an end.
Now, a solemn ceremony has been held in Accra to commemorate the 78th International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers with renewed calls for global security and peace. The event, organized by the Government of Ghana through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration in collaboration with the United Nations in Ghana and other key partners, took place at the forecourt of the State House.
The ceremony brought together government officials, diplomats, security personnel, and representatives of international organizations to honor the dedication, bravery, and sacrifice of United Nations peacekeepers serving across the world. Activities at the event included a flag-raising and wreath-laying ceremony, symbolizing remembrance, resilience, and hope for lasting peace. 4 wreaths were laid on behalf of the Government of Ghana, the United Nations peacekeepers, and families of fallen peacekeepers. Held under the theme Invest in Peace, the event underscored the urgent need to promote peace and dialogue amid rising global conflicts and instability. Speaking at the ceremony, Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs James Gyakye Quayson expressed appreciation to peacekeeping troops for their sacrifice and dedication to maintaining global peace and security.
Today, we gather not only to honor the memory of the brave women and men who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the service of humanity, but also to recognize the dedication, professionalism, and resilience of all peacekeepers serving in the United Nations peacekeeping operations across the world. At a time when the world continues to face protracted conflicts, terrorism, violent extremism, political instability, organized crime, climate-related security threats, and humanitarian crisis, the role of the United Nations peacekeeping has become even more indispensable.
On his part, the UN Resident Coordinator in Ghana, Zia Chaudhry, commended Ghana for its long-lasting contribution to international peacekeeping missions and further appealed for collective global efforts towards sustaining peace worldwide.
Peace requires political will, sustained financing, and collective commitment. Now is the time to invest in peace, not in war. Colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, Ghana has played a catalytic role in peacekeeping operations, setting an inspiring example for nations around the world. Since its first participation in UN peacekeeping operations in the 1960s, Ghana has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to security, providing troops, police officers, and civilian personnel to missions across several continents.
And one of the evacuees who was among the first batch of Ghanaians from South Africa has described his experience with xenophobic attacks and harassment, saying foreign nationals, particularly Africans, are increasingly being targeted in parts of South Africa.
Speaking exclusively on Good Afternoon Ghana on Thursday, May 28, Fifi recounted an incident in Johannesburg's Central Business District where he encountered a large group of people moving aggressively through the area, screaming words used during hostile encounters with foreigners.
I was going to eat banku and okro from a Nigerian restaurant. Then I saw these guys coming in numbers. They were like 200 or more, screaming. They have a very fancy word. They scream when they want to level their aggression against foreigners. They say Abahambe. Abahambe means go home.
Okay.
So when you hear them screaming Abahambe, don't stand there trying to understand what they want to say, because they wouldn't give you the freedom of time to explain why you're not South African.
You have to vanish.
You have to find your way to flee the dangerous scene. Wherever you are as a Ghanaian and hear the word Abahambe, run for your life. I ran away, and some of them took after me in Central Business District.
He further alleged that some police officers in South Africa exploit vulnerable migrant workers, particularly women in the hair braiding industry. He claimed officers wait until they close their shops before taking money from them, with the women fearing arrest if they resist.
Let me tell you how the South African police is taking advantage of this situation. And I feel very sad for our women, the elderly women who are in South Africa, braiding hair. And of course, those ones constitute just a minute percentage. You know what the police does? They wait for these women to close from their saloons when they have braided their hair from morning till evening, and they just ambush them right after they have closed their shop, and they take their money. Because, of course, you don't want to go to jail.
Meanwhile, Fred Duho, Media Relations Officer at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, rebutted claims that most of the Ghanaian evacuees were illegal migrants.
Our brothers, sisters, mothers, uncles, aunties who returned home yesterday, almost 90% of them had legal documentation. That is the information I got from our High Commission in South Africa. Just a few of them who, had their visa process or their visa extension denied, or the processes never went through. They are the people they are classifying as undocumented individuals they are chasing after. But I can tell you that as far as Ghanaians are concerned, their safety, whether they are documented or not, and they show interest to return home, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will stop at nothing to bring all of them home.
The next batch of evacuees are expected to arrive in the country next week.
On behalf of the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, the Volta Regional Minister James Gunu has distributed over 1,000 boxes of sanitary pads to selected senior high schools and female inmates and prisons across the Volta region. The event, held at St. Catherine Senior High School in the South Tongue District, was aimed at marking this year's World Menstrual Hygiene Day. Our Volta Regional reporter Gabriel Asempo has more in this report.
World Menstrual Hygiene Day is an annual global awareness campaign observed every year to promote good menstrual health and hygiene, break the stigma surrounding menstruation, and advocate for equal access to menstrual products, education, sanitation, and healthcare. To commemorate this year's day, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, through the Volta Regional Minister, distributed over 1,000 boxes of free sanitary pads to vulnerable institutions in the Volta region. Speaking to the media, the Volta Regional Minister, James Gunu, explained the rationale behind the distribution.
And the Vice President of the Republic is leading this particular initiative. Being a mother herself, she believes that no child, no girl child should absent herself from school because of menstruation. And today being the World Menstrual Hygiene Day, she has brought over 1,000 boxes of sanitary pads to be delivered to schools that are disadvantaged.
The headmistress of St. Catherine Senior High School, Reverend Sister Genevieve Afodope, expressed appreciation for the gesture, describing it as timely.
Most of our girls who come from the remote areas, some of them are very poor, so they come to school without pads. And during those days, some of them use toilet rolls and some other things that are not hygienic. So this will go a long way to help them. So they are usually happy
when the card comes like this. So they are very happy because it helps them, because most of them don't have the resources to acquire some of their own.
The district chief executive for North Town Victoria, Amefa G, said the donation would greatly support female students during their menstrual periods and help them maintain proper hygiene while remaining focused on the education.
Genuinely, there are some people that cannot afford. So this is an intervention that is going to support them when they have time of the month.
Beneficiary institutions included special and inclusive schools, Islamic basic schools, a female correctional facility, and psychiatric hospitals. The initiative seeks to promote dignity, better health, and continued education among girls and women.
That's all for the news updates. For more news, log on to Metro TV Online. We'll go for a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey buddy, it's me Azar.
Yeah, me now they see. Hey, you don't look fresh. Oh.
Hey.
With your label today, me.
Wait till you see what's inside me.
Azar, freshly made inside and out for greater coverage and colors that last longer and beautify your walls, spaces and places. Azar, no size. Go ahead. Buy now. Azar, #1 from Azar Group since 1921.
Looking for comfort, convenience, and class all in one place? Welcome to Stay Easy Apartments on Conference Center, where modern living meets exceptional service. Whether you're staying for business or leisure, Stay Easy offers you a home away from home. Spacious and well-furnished apartments, pool, gym, and everything you need to relax and feel at ease. Planning a meeting, workshop, or special event? Our event ground and state-of-the-art conference center is designed to host your events and bring your vision to life. From corporate gatherings to private functions, we provide the perfect space, supported by modern equipment and a professional team ready to assist you. At Stay Easy, your comfort and success are our priority. Book your stay or reserve your space today. Call us at 020-739-1473 or 0244-226367. Stay Easy Apartments and Conference Center. Stay easy with us.
Grab your bottle and unleash the taste of Storm Energy Drink. A bold flavor, a big attitude. Feel the vibe, own the moment. It's your time to be different. Storm Energy Drink, make your mark.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health, not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
June to 19 July, everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Catch all 104 matches from as little as 98 Ghana cedis live on SuperSport, only on GoTV.
Alibado! Hey,
MTN FA Cup final. The moment we've all been waiting for. The climax of Ghana Football 2025-2026 season is here. Hey, no, MTN FA Cup final. Obey your butu today. Nations FC and the Dreams FC. Are you live? Our UG Sports Stadium. With the 31st May, 6 p.m. It's wine we need MTN FA Cup finals to represent Ghana, our cup. A pre-FIFA World Cup 2026 football party. It's a new film. Ghana Blaster just national colors woman and bright and your face. The send a signal. Our yes Yafanina. Say Ghana food. We love our football. Ghana Blaster and University of Ghana Sports Stadium game. Never be on Sunday. 31st May. 1:30 Pepe. Exactly 3 p.m. Accra House of Fun. Kumasi Asante Kotoko on the 17th. I'm a special curtain raiser. My friend, what's the ball? What the ball, Papa? MTN FA Cup final pass. President Demwe. Never when you get the full package, including spectacular opening ceremony. Nations FC versus Dreams FC to represent Ghana in Confederation Cup. Any surprises may bring. Anything brand Demwe. Get fee. 20 Ghana popular stand. 50 Ghana VIP and 100 Ghana VVI. MTN FA Cup. Yeah. Menu who free. Let me say. Abeye butu butu. MTN FA Cup game. Obia nyobia.
Welcome back from the break. This is Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV, and Natasha Jama brought us the news update. Coming up on the show till we wrap up at 1:30 p.m. today. We have two conversations, big conversations on the show today, and we'll be talking to the National Disaster Management Organization. The director of the Inspectorate Unit is joining us here on the table to talk about their work so far in the season, as we've seen the flood situations across various communities in the capital and other places across the country. What has been going on? What has been the observation? What will be done about the situation? And of course, many times we see some of these things happening, and then when action is taken, a lot of things come up, and then we tend to relax all of those things, and the next year comes and it continues again. We get to talk about that. And then later, we have a conversation with the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West, Reverend Dr. Kwekwado, will be joining us on the table to talk about his work as a parliamentarian for the constituency, looking at, just balancing ministry and then politics. It will be an interesting one to find out from him. And then we'll talk about also what he's been doing about the situation in his community in his constituency regarding the rains and floods and all of that. So stay with us. We're live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana, and also DSTV channel 277. As you see on your screen, that's the overflow from the spillage of the Wager Dam. Yesterday, my colleague Vanessa Edotum Boating was in the area as we saw the Gamanche and also the regional minister there assessing the situation. So that is what we'll be talking about on the show. So join us 94.1 FM on radio. If you're driving, you can definitely be a part of the show on YouTube. We are live on there at Metro TV Ghana. My name is Desmond Okreku Danso. So we get into the conversation now this afternoon. As I mentioned, we have Richard Amoyati, director for the Inspectorate Unit of NADMO, joining us here. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on Good Afternoon Ghana. How's the past few days or weeks been for you and your men on the ground?
Yeah, good afternoon, Desmond. Good afternoon to your viewers and those who are listening on your FM station. I'm saying another good afternoon to my Director General and all the NADMO staff who are on the field, especially the staff of the Wager Municipality, who, as I speak now, are in the communities, Tetegu, White Cross, and other areas, assessing the situation. Yeah, the last few days have been hectic because of, but the heavier rains were expected. So we were ready for the heavy rains. We did all that we needed to do in anticipation of the heavy rains. like sensitizing flood-prone communities, ensuring that our safe havens are ready, and then putting out the national emergency hotlines so that those who find themselves in distressed situations could call for support. So we did all that we had to do. We again engaged the assemblies in the flood-prone areas where we identified water channels, wetlands that have been encroached upon. That is why you saw us removing unauthorized structures from some wetlands, all in an effort to mitigate the risk of flooding this year.
Right.
So a lot.
That's what you've been doing. For your units, the inspectorate unit, what exactly do you do?
They're responsible for ensuring risk reduction measures are actively implemented.
Okay, right. Over the past years, we've heard about NADMO and the activities NADMO has to do. Many a times also there has been some backlash, for the organization in terms of what people expect that you should be doing. And in this particular situation, would you say that there is enough resource available to you and your men to be able to do the work that you've been assigned to do?
When you use the word enough, I don't know what that means.
Well,
but we all work with the resources available, and you make sure that you maximize the effort and ensure that you get the best out of whatever is available to you.
Is it what is so? Yeah. Is it what?
That's why I don't understand what you mean by enough.
So enough.
I don't know how much is enough.
Enough.
Like Oliver Twist, we will always ask for more. If you give us 100 cities today, tomorrow we'll ask for 200. So there would never be enough. But whatever resources are available to us, we'll make sure that we get maximum results.
What exact resources do you need to do your work?
First and foremost, every other resource that we need depends on the finances. Every other resource has to be procured. And then we will need some financing to do our work. And then we collaborate. So sometimes we bring other agencies together. We have a network of agencies. Like we have the disaster management committees, which are made up of all agencies who are likely to have a role to play in the event of any situation. And they all have resources that will be needed. So we pull together resources in critical times to do. No single agency has it all and can do it all.
Right.
So we pull resources together to do whatever we have to do.
Right. And for that question, I'm seeking to know whether for your work you use vehicles for rounds, you need bulldozers, like all of those things. I just want to
need
that.
A lot of vehicles to monitor situations. We have 261 districts in this country. And ideally, every district should have at least one vehicle to be monitoring. But as I speak to you now, about 90% of our district don't have vehicles. Yeah, even the regional and national situation isn't the best. But like I said, nobody has it all. We pull together resources when all the other agencies come together to try and get maximum results out of the little that's available.
As you go on the ground, do you think that Ghanaians do understand what disaster is and how to respond to it?
That's a big one. You see, the reason why NAD acts, one of the key reasons, NADMO was originally set up with Act 517 of 1996, and after 20 years it was reviewed. And one of the findings was that citizens have to take responsibility. There are certain things, demands that should be made of citizens, because at the end of the day, everybody is entitled to ensuring their own safety before other people can come in to help. That is why Act 927 was passed, which puts some responsibility on citizens. So yes, we're all doing the best that we can, but we think that citizens have to do more in terms of compliance. I always say that when you comply, you reduce the risk of disasters. So I put it this way: compliance is disaster risk reduction. But we are fond of calling for enforcement. Enforcement. Why should there be enforcement when you can do the right thing? If everybody is doing what they have to do, everybody is law-abiding, and then we all know that our enforcement capacity is not up to the standards required internationally. For example, if you take our police to citizen ratio and all that. So definitely enforcement, there's a huge gap. So we must preach for the citizens to be more responsible and comply, because all the regulations for the development control is to ensure the safety of the citizens of the community and everything. So let's also preach, ask the citizens to comply, instead of always hitting hard at agencies, enforce. But we all know that the standards in this country does not meet the capacity of enforcement in this country is way below the required standard. So how can we then enforce effectively?
Okay.
So we do the best that we can, but there are gaps. But if the citizens are helping us by complying, we think that we will mitigate most of our risks.
Okay, let's get into the situation proper. So about a month or so ago, we started having the rains coming down. I remember 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks, I was in Cape Coast when there was a heavy rain in Cape Coast. Prior to that, there had been some rains even in Accra, so close to a month. With that happening, tell us the operational, process that it goes through for your organization as you collaborate with others like the GMETs, like the assemblies, from the beginning and then as it comes and after.
Number one, I would say, is early warning.
Okay.
You need to know what is available, what is the threats available,
okay,
before you can even think of putting in place prevention or mitigation measures. So when it comes to flood situations or weather-related incidents, the key agency is the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
Right.
So at the beginning of every year, they give NADMO the outlook for the year. And then based on that, we start our preparedness to the level that we activate all our contingency plans. For example, this year, once we got the outlook, and based on our assessment on last year's situation, where we identify some flood hotspots, we worked with the various assemblies to start opening up the channels, which are being encroached upon, dredge channels that are silted. That is why you saw NADMO and the assemblies engage in the removal of unauthorized structures in the Sakumo Basin and in the Kweshi Basin.
Right.
Follow up to that, we're also clearing the fillings, the materials that was used to fill and elevate the ground.
Okay.
We are clearing all of them to ensure that the basins can serve the purpose for which they were created. So we are doing all this in collaboration with the district assemblies and then the security services. So from the word go, we started working with assemblies to mitigate flooding this year. And then we have done a lot of work. What is happening in the Densu Basin is as a result of extreme or very heavy rainfalls upstream.
Okay.
So the inflows into the reservoir of the Wager Dam is heavy. And as I speak to you now, Wager Dam is spilling. All 5 gates are open. Yesterday, it was heavier, so the gates had been opened above 13 inches each. As of today, they are opened at 24 inches each, spilling high intensity, but still, the level is a little above the maximum operating level. So we need to spill to safeguard the integrity, structural integrity of the dam. So it's the lesser of the two evils. If you spill, there'll be communities downstream inundated. If you don't spill, upstream communities will be inundated. And then the integrity of the dam itself, it may collapse. And then when it collapses, it's worse.
It brings a lot of...
So this spilling is to protect the dam. As the dam is being protected, it's also easing flooding in upstream communities. The reason the downstream communities were because it was heavy, but before, in anticipation of that, we opened up another estuary to allow for flow, faster flow. Unfortunately, we completed that exercise by 5:30 to 6 a.m. yesterday, because we worked throughout the night, opening up because we were anticipating these heavy flows. But unfortunately, as we had finished opening, And we were expecting that in about 2-3 hours, the water levels were going to recede. There was heavy rainfall.
The rains also came
So
in.
that is what changed the situation. But as I speak to you now, the levels are receding, and then the communities are returning to normal. And then those who were displaced, we identified about 105 persons who were displaced, and then they are being kept in some safe places, and then they are the responsibility of NADMO.
Right. So we've seen videos from Boom, we've seen Dansoman, we've seen, of course, Kaneshie, so it always happens. But for places where are more residential, that happens. If you evacuate people, what is the process like? Is it a by force evacuation? You need to move by force, or you leave it to the people to say they want to?
We
or not?
appeal.
Okay.
We appeal to people to move to our safe havens. That is why we always tell people, wherever you live, there's a NADMO office near you. Go to the nearest NADMO office.
Really?
Yes.
You have offices everywhere?
Everywhere in this country.
Northridge?
All the 261 districts have NADMO offices. And beyond the district offices, we have zonal offices. Over 900 of them around the country. So we have offices. There is always a NADMO office close to you. Visit the nearest NADMO office, and then they will show you the safe haven that we have for your community. So that in times like this, you move in, and you self-evacuate.
Okay.
And then sometimes we have what we call the shelter in place, where you are better off staying put, because the community will be flooded, but it will not enter your room, or you are safe because it's a storage building, or it's on a higher ground, you can move up and be safe. So we sensitize communities right from when we receive the outlook for the year. So we've been doing this across the country.
Yeah, because I'm surprised about the centers you mentioned, though. So for where I live, Awoshi Malangbawi, where is the NADMO office?
Sitting here, I cannot tell you. But go to the district assembly.
The assembly will be able to.
The assembly will show you where the zonal offices are.
Okay.
Then you will know the nearest NADMO office close to you.
Right. What's been the most surprising thing yourself and your team see on the ground regarding the flooding and all of that?
Like surprising, I hardly get surprised because we anticipate some of these things because of our relationship with GMET, and then also from experience over the years. Yeah, so nothing surprises me.
And of course, the surprising thing will be some places that did not used to.
What is happening is that because of, you see, the more we develop, put up structures, then we decrease infiltration. That is the flow. When the heavy rains come, they don't stay. They have to flow out. But then we impede the flow. It is when we impede the flow that it builds up and floods communities. You understand? And then also, by way of development, sometimes we change the topography. In some areas, when people are developing and there's a hill, instead of them to design, taking into consideration the topography, they rather clear. So what an area that was not low lying originally suddenly becomes low.
An example would be?
Oh, I cannot immediately give an example. But if you look at the development on the Kwapim range, that is what people are doing. Apart from clearing the vegetation, they are flattening sections of the hill for development. And that is what is causing the flood. Because a lot of the runoffs come from the mountains. That is when there's heavy rains on the mountain, it runs down Accra. In the past, the vegetation will slow down the flow. Then beneath the mountain, we have the wetland retention areas, which will hold the water. But if you go there now, all those areas have been reclaimed for development. And then once you reclaim those areas for development, there will be faster runoffs and more runoffs downstream. And there are no efforts to channel. Drainage infrastructure is poor. So all these runoffs are not channeled. They just find their way wherever they want.
And that's where the problem comes in, that I've seen some of your men on the ground pointing to some buildings that have been put up unauthorized in Dansoman, in some other areas, right? You talk about collaborating with the local assembly. Now, the assembly sees the buildings that are put up on the waterways, unless they tell us that they do not see the buildings springing up on these waterways or places that they should not be. What do we do with that?
Like I said, development control is entirely under the bosom of the assembly.
So you comment to the assembly?
Yeah, and then you know that, like I started by saying that there's a huge gap in enforcement. The capacity to enforce itself is not up to. So it affects not only NADMO, but all other institutions.
But then it makes your work difficult.
Yeah, it makes everybody's work difficult. It makes everybody's work difficult. Because if these floods, NADMO has to move. If we are moving, we are not moving alone. We call Ghana National Fire Service to support with search and rescue. We call the police to provide security and protection for the men and also keep the citizenry at bay. And then also watch out, because in times like this, people loot. People take advantage and loot. And then we can also bring in the Ghana Armed Forces to back up the operation. So it affects everybody, not just one.
Oh, but again...
But then everybody talks about NADMO. As the secretariat, yes. But then when we move, all our agencies are with us. Because we cannot do it alone. We need the collaboration. So when it comes like that, apart from we collaborate and also coordinate for an effective response to incidents when they occur.
For residents or people who are affected by the flooding and all of that, how do you come by the relief items you give to them?
Yeah, relief items, it's an issue that, let me state it clearly here. Relief is not just giving handouts. You go to an area that has been affected by floods and then you start giving handouts to everybody who lives. No, that is not relief. Relief is targeted at the most vulnerable because it's a life-saving measure, a measure to ensure that those who have been affected continue to have a life of dignity. They will not become beggars because of the situation. So that is what relief is all about. So we do an in-depth assessment of every individual who has been affected. For example, we look out for your source of livelihood, your income levels, your network of support and all. So many factors are taken into consideration. Then we arrive at the decision that this A can survive, B needs our support to survive. And so the relief will be targeted at those who need us. Of course, it's because we don't have unlimited resources. So we need to target the most vulnerable are the ones we take care of. But then you hear people complaining because they saw me give. I give something to A, I didn't give to B. But your situations are not the same. Your situations are not the same.
So what do you give? Mosquito nets?
Depending on the situation. It depends on the situation and our needs assessment. You may require clothing. Another person may require food. Another person may require beddings. In extreme cases, somebody will require all these things. Let me give you an example. If your source of livelihood is a kiosk in front of your house and it's swept away by the floods, whilst at the same time the flood waters entered your room, and you've lost your beddings, you've lost your source of livelihood. So we need to provide all these things, support you with this, support you with clothing, support you with food. But then your next door neighbor, who also suffered the same fate, they didn't lose the source of livelihood. The source of livelihood is intact. So immediately you may need support in terms of beddings. And some wet ration. So we look at all these things. Some people, they just don't need anything from us. I've had the situation where in our assessment we realize that the person affected and his whole family, including their pets, are renovated to Accra City Hotel. What relief item do I have to give?
The person who was affected has gone to Accra City Hotel.
Has relocated the whole family, house help, even pets. Has relocated.
That person doesn't need any.
But in some cases, somebody will come. You give mattress. So I said,
Yes,
well, if they don't get it, then you hear them on air making also. So there's a lot to relieve. It's not just a handout that is distributed to people.
Just two questions before we wrap up. Challenges
of our
of your work. Yeah.
The citizens, sometimes some people are stubborn. They just will not heed to advice. Move, they will not move. They will wait until they are overwhelmed by the situation and somebody will have to go and then rescue them. Sometimes people, those who call, we thrive on information. Without accurate information, we cannot work. We've put out hotlines. You are aware, you called the hotline. The last time a lady called, Mamba miwo, how do we respond to this? Calm down and speak to us. Then we know your situation and we know the response that we have to deploy. Then we will deploy. And then I also advise that we keep listening. We listen to weather information. It's very, very, very necessary. And then those who have kids, especially kids under 5 years, kids love to play with water.
Yeah.
So when they see the rain, they're excited. They want to play. Don't make sure they are around you. Give them protection. Don't allow them to play in the rain. There is a situation where somebody accidentally fell into a drain. At the time it was raining 5 years, and the person was washed away. This is not a flat situation,
Right.
but it was raining. With a little bit of care from parents, this situation could have been avoided. So let's keep an eye on our children.
So, so please take us through the lines again, the emergency numbers.
Emergency hotlines are,
Okay.
So we have the National Emergency Hotline, which is 112.
Okay.
112. Then beside that, you can reach NADMO Direct. You can reach NADMO Direct.
As he gets to do that, let me tell you, we'll wrap this conversation in a bit, and then when we come back, we'll speak to the Ablekuma West Member of Parliament, Reverend Kwekwado, who'll be joining us. So let's take the numbers, and then we
Apart from the 112, which is the National Emergency Hotline, you can reach NADMO Direct on 0302 56 48 84. 0302 96 48 84. You can also reach us on 0291 91 3077. 0291 91 3077.
Right.
These calls will go to our Emergency Operations Center.
Okay.
And they are on call 24/7.
Okay.
And then they will respond when your call goes.
Right. And the 112 is the national, so still when you call, it will be redirected.
You know, in times like this, you could have a lot of distress calls.
Okay.
So sometimes it appears jammed.
Okay.
And people complain that I called them, they didn't pick.
Okay.
By the time you place the call, the officers were on call with other distress people. So it will take some time so people should have patience.
Okay.
Now let me also add that there are other emergency service providers, police, ambulance, fire. They are our collaborators.
Okay.
We work with them. If you call in NADMO, you are not getting, you can call any of their hotlines.
Okay.
And then we'll be there to
help you. And so, please, Ghanaians, we do not like keeping emergency numbers. So please, 0302 96 4884. Save the number. Save the number. And also 0291 91 3077. Those are emergency helplines from NADMO. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Richard Amo Iyate is Director for the Inspectorate Unit of the National Disaster Management Organization. We're taking a break now. We'll be back shortly to talk to Honorable Kwekwado, Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West Constituency.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy. specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. MNC Properties.
As the days come and go, there's always shit. Let colleagues explore all the planetary bodies. Our mission is in Uranus to treat hemorrhoids, anal fistula, anal fissure, anal incontinence, hidradenitis suppurativa, using laser ligature for pain-free and speedy recovery. On Uranus Street, Accra, is Main Tuber Hospital and Coloproctology Center. Trust Uranus with us and we will delight you. Visit Main Tuber Hospital today or call us on 0244 581 541.
Launching BSc Development Economics at the Ghana Christian University College. Study a job-ready university program, BSc Development Economics at the Ghana Christian University College. Job is ready for graduates who possess degrees and certificates in BSc Development Economics, professional certificate in Theoeconomy, certificate in Theoeconomy with business. Enroll at the Department of Theology and Economics at the Ghana Christian University College, Amrahia, Adenta Dodua Road, Accra. Full bursary is available for BSc Development Economics graduates to study master's program at a state university in South Africa. Enroll now. Take advantage of this opportunity to join elite professionals in economics. Call 0557 351 090 or 0575 633 307 or 030 296 0542. WhatsApp us on 0557 351 090 or you can get in touch online on www.theoeconomy.edu.gh. Powered by the Center for Theology and Economics, CTEC.
This Easter, Estate Masters Limited is giving you more reasons to celebrate in our extended Easter promo. Secure your dreamland at Nest Cottage, Chopoli with a massive 15% discount. Or choose Palm Hills, Gomwa Pamfukrom, also at 15% discount. And for lovers of the coast, Coastal Park, Ningo Prampram awaits you at 10% discount. Plus, enjoy free site visits and free documentation because we make land ownership simple. This Easter, don't just celebrate, invest in your future. Estate Masters Limited, your most preferred estate partner.
Hey, MTN FA Cup final. The moment we've all been waiting for. The climax of Ghana Football 2025-2026 season is here. Hey, no, MTN FA Cup final. Obey your butu today. Nations FC and the Dreams FC. Are you live? Our UG Sports Stadium. Kwesiada ya ebe. 31st May. 6 p.m. It's wine ebe win MTN FA Cup finals to represent Ghana. Our cup. A pre-FIFA World Cup 2026 football party. It's a new film. Ghana Blaster just national colors woman. And bright and your face. The insane signal. I will yes ya fanina. Say ya Ghana for. We love our football. Ghana Blaster and University of Ghana Sports Stadium game. The baby on Sunday 31st May 1:30 pepe. Essence exactly 3 p.m. Accra House of Fun in Kumasi Asante Kotoko on the 17th. And the special curtain race. What's the ball? I want the ball, Papa. MTN FA Cup final pass. President Demwe. Never when you budget the full package, including spectacular opening ceremony. Nations FC versus Dreams FC to represent Ghana in Confederation Cup. Any surprises may bring. Anything brand Demwe. Get fee 20 Ghana popular stand, 50 Ghana VIP, and 100 Ghana VVI. Aya MTN FA Cup. Yeah, menu who free. Let me say, a baye butu butu. MTN FA Cup game. Obia nyobia.
Break. This is Good Afternoon Ghana on the Metro TV Friday edition of the show. Today is the 29th of May, right? Yeah, so the last Friday of the month. In fact, the last week of the month of May. We have the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West joining us on the table, Honorable Dr. Reverend Kweku Ado. Reverend Dr. Kweku Ado has joined us here on the table. We get to speak to him, get to know what he's been up to. He's the first time Member of Parliament, and so we get to talk about that and all other issues here on the show. We're live on 94.1 FM on radio, also on DSTV channel 277, on YouTube, Facebook. We are live on the Reverend Doctor. Welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. I've seen you from afar,
Yeah.
moving around here and there, but good to have you here. First off, you had yourself and other first-timers in Parliament had a very chaotic start to your tenure, right, in Parliament. When you were getting in, what was your perception about Parliament? And then now that you're in, what is it like to you before I even get into the other matters of ministry?
Well, thank you very much for having me. And well, I think expectation was high.
Okay.
And my first shocker was the size of my office. I had imagined a bigger office. And an office that had its own bathroom.
Oh, really?
It may be as basic as such, but then, it was a shocker. But then the whole culture and the procedure too was new to us, and then, funny things like maybe even arrangement of seats and things like that, But those are things that when you go into any new environment, you get to understand how things work, and then you also adjust.
Yeah.
But so far, so good.
From the 7th of January 2024 till you were
25.
2025, yeah. I mean, 7th December.
December, yes.
When the election happened, 2024, till you were sworn into Parliament. What were you doing during that period?
Oh, primarily, I think it was just thank you tours.
Okay.
Immediately after the elections, going around thanking people, having gatherings just to thank people, and then facing the reality that now the work has begun.
Right.
I remember the morning of the 8th when the declaration was made, and then they said, "Oh, let's walk through town." So we got going. I got at the back of a pickup. We started moving around, and then there was the excitement, but we were tired because we had not slept the night prior. And then when we got to around Glefe, and then I looked at the refuge which was on our right-hand side and the muddy side on the left, and I said,
this is the way.
But all in all, it was in preparation and the expectation to go to Parliament and to really see how things were going to work out.
Yeah.
Yes. So it was just a mixed feeling at that time. You're happy, but you're still have to move around, thank people, and people were giving you counsel, people were giving you what to be expecting. And so it was a period of a mixed feeling. But after the swearing in, then reality dawns on you that, hey, this is what you have to do.
Who's been your closest, sharing with you parliamentary procedures, helping you out with your stay in Parliament?
Oh, the good thing is that I think after our swearing, we had a period of a week or so for various trainings and then workshops. And all through last year, there were different types of workshops, both committee and parliamentary, with the PTI, Parliamentary Training Institute. So at least they get you informed. And then we had some past, like Honorable Chairman Sabonsu, Honorable Mutaka coming to have various trainings with us, and then telling you what the standing orders were, which was your parliamentary Bible and stuff like that. So, I mean, there was quite enough training, you know. So then you begin to experience the actual thing, going to work and coming home still to deal with the issues of the constituency.
No, I was asking that. I just wanted to know who probably was your closest, that anytime there was something you could call, the person calls you that.
Oh, you know, we have leadership. So we have the majority leader, but there's the first deputy whip, which happens to be Honorable Doyo Kujo.
Okay.
Happened to have resided in our constituency. And so we had that relationship. So with the hierarchy, she was somebody that normally I'll go to ask questions about things. But eventually you run around and you realize that people like, I mentioned Honorable Kwesi Bedra, O West. I mean, he's somebody that you lean close to. But then we have a few first-timers that we came around ourselves to also try to figure ourselves out. Little caucus to see how best we could hold ourselves together, you know. And I mean, as time goes on, interestingly, you find different people at different times just naturally drawing in to give you counsel. You know, occasionally you find maybe a second timer, a third timer, you are complaining about something. Then they chip and say, oh no, it's normal, it's this, it's that. I mean, so far it's been a wonderful time. But in admirations too, you know, as you go along, you find people where you see their style of doing things that you just admire, and then you try to learn from. Yeah.
So, Reverend, when did you start? Let's wind it back to ministry.
Ministry. I grew up in a more religious home.
Okay.
My mother was a Presbyterian, so was my dad. You know, at young as maybe, as I knew. You know, there were morning devotions every morning. You have to go to church every Sunday, whether you felt like or not.
Sunday school.
Sunday school, yeah. So naturally we grew through it. But then I attended some secondary technical. And then I think somewhere around Form 3, had the privilege of meeting, now we used to call him Brother Esel, now Apostle Esel of Grace Outreach. Okay. And then Bishop Takia Boy. They were students, I think they were in their sixth form or I just completed. So they came to school, witnessed, and then we gave our life to Christ. And since we've been metamorphosing into church staff and everything. So mine was progressional.
Okay.
You know, and then later on after school, when I traveled, I joined the Lighthouse in the US, also for quite a few years till I returned to Ghana. And then gradually, at Our Solutions, I was ordained as a full-time minister.
Right. So with that, and then on the pulpit, of course, you must have seen a lot of things happening in the Ghana's political space.
Yes.
And I'm sure you must have even talked about some of them, you know, on the pulpit. And then it gets to a point where you decide, I want to get in.
Yeah.
When did you decide?
It wasn't a decision that I made necessarily. But it was events that just kind of rolled me into. You know, I've always gotten involved with the little things in the neighborhood. And then I think in 2018, thereabouts, a group of guys, one of them, may his soul rest in peace, Honorable Amponsa, he just passed not too long ago. You know, we're having a discussion. He was the assemblyman. And we're having these flooding issues. So I had called him that I was going to construct a gutter from my house to the junction. But when I'm done, I'll make sure the next time he doesn't win the assembly seat because they are not doing anything. And so then he said, oh, no, Reverend, you know, so we started talking. Then he said, so, you know, I think you'll be a fine MP. And I said, oh, no, I don't want to be part of that. And then through discussions, it so happened, you know, that there was the need for me to get involved with some fundraising for the NDC in Ablikuma West. And then we did that. And then obviously, the style of leadership was like, oh, I think you can do this, you know. But all these, you know, you have to take it into prayer.
Yeah.
So I had to consult pastors, my pastors, and tell them, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling. And, you know, with all that, so it happened that I would try for the primaries. You know, but luckily, I think we were 3, eventually became 2. And then, by the grace of God, I won. That was in 2019, 2020. So I contested.
Okay.
And then it didn't go well. And then after that, there was also the backlash. Oh, the Lord didn't say you should go.
Did you really hear from the Lord?
If the Lord has said it, then you should have won. And, you know, that era also came. But I still sought the face of God. And I was confident that the Lord, it was all going to be okay. But then also I realized at that time that apparently I didn't know much. So were the people around me. Okay. So we had learned a lot. So we prepared for the 2024. And then, glory to God, we were able to win the seat for the NDC.
That's quite a good story to hear. So you came in, it's been almost 2 years?
17 months.
17 months. What can you say to the people of Blakemore West that you've been able to help them with or do for them?
Oh, you know, when we first came in, there were a few things that we thought was very important. One of them was is the Otojo area where we are still having flooding today.
Okay.
And we spent a few months just making sure, because we had just been sworn in January into February, the rains were about coming. We did a lot of dredging work in the Otojo area. And so actually last year, there was very less flooding in that area, you know. Then we had our major problem in Dansoman is we have a huge youth group, because almost about our electorates, 60 to 70% are the youth. So we started youth training, in which so far I think we've done almost close to 200 of them. Okay. We took some to the DTI for training, those who did the 6 month. And then we've enrolled another about 25 who are in the boarding for the next, I think they'll be completing in September in various areas. Then we also had to deal with the neighborhood issues, you know. And the focus have been, we've done a lot of training for small businesses so that they can also grow their business. We've also looked at dredging on the Shiabu Glefe end, which was also a major problem for our people. We've also done a lot of lobbying, you understand? So we're coming up with an 18 classroom block at the Ebenezer School. You know, and then the government also set some other path. Beyond that, I have a passion for clean neighborhoods. Yeah. You know, so the areas where we have vehicles are not able to penetrate into the township, we started a major pavement block project just to make sure vehicles are able to get access. Because somebody may be in there somewhere in Big Bay, sick, and they would have to carry the person to the roadside, you know.
And then the roads are not too good to be able to do that.
Yeah, so but with the pavement block, the idea is that we'll be able to have a major pavement road into every community, so at least vehicles can go in there, whether from the market, medical, or whatever, you know. So those are some of the things that we've been doing.
Right, Reverend, just 2 more questions, and then we're asking for a part 2.
Yes.
We're asking for a part 2. We have to wrap it up.
Yes.
But in the season, let's talk about the flats and what exactly you're doing about it. We just heard from Nadmo. We also know that you've been going around checking out a few of the places that have been flooded. What do we do?
You know, we just need to take bold steps. Okay. You know, and just focus on what the problems are. Just focus on what the problems are. In Otojo, for instance, over the time, like I was saying last year, we did a lot of dredging, so the water couldn't come through. But then after that, you know, the president went towards the Malam area and instructed that Kitech, behind their section where they had built a dwarf buffer for their building, should be taken off so the water can flow. And so Hydro, in collaboration with Works and Housing, came. So they opened the channels all the way from Malam Market, entering into the Otojo Basin. Okay. And then when we saw it, Minister came around, we were very happy, knowing that now when it rains, the water will be able to go. But then, when it rained last week Friday, we realized that on the other side, which is the Wager side, there's refuse that apparently had been heaped almost for a mile. Yes, you know, almost a mile, which has kind of leaned this way to cross the path of the water.
So it's blocking the water.
It's blocking
from
the water.
moving.
Yeah. So now that the place was dredged and opened up, more water flew in from the upstream, and then instead of going, they all had to rush back into that one. So everybody will attest that they've never had that level of flooding before. Why? Because more volumes are coming in, but nowhere to go. So yesterday we visited that site, and then we looked at it, and clearly, there is no doubt in my mind that that refuse dump needs to be broken. You know, it needs to be removed so the water can have its path. Because when you stand on top of the refuse and you look to your right, facing south, you could see just the wide wetland over there.
Okay.
You understand?
And if you're taking it off, where would you relocate it to? Have you found a place?
Well, no, that is not within my jurisdiction, but it's a national or a regional issue where, with sanitation, it needs to be recited.
Okay.
Because we can't put the refuse there to create flooding here, whilst there is space enough to be able to contain the water. You understand? So, and then on the other end of our constituency, which is the Glife area, there was also a holding basin, which is the Jatapo, which also there is some refuse that have been dumped to choke it.
Okay.
But that one, starting Monday, we are going to stop that. We'll work on that. And then a few demolitions that have to happen in between some of the corridors of that flows water into the main corridor of the water to go into the Densu Basin. So those are the things. But I think next week, Tuesday, we'll be having a stakeholders meeting with the municipal chief, the coordinating director, police, fire, and the urban roads engineer for us to figure out a better way to make sure there's that. But I will appeal that the refuse dump on the Wager side that affects the flood in Dansoman, I mean, national security, RCC, they all need to come so we can look at it and break it through. To break for the water to be, because we know this year we're going to have lots of rains.
Yeah,
this is the early days.
We're not even anywhere in the year.
Yes, it's early days yet. So the earlier we solve it, the better. And then at the Tunga end too, I think there will be there has to be some dredging and some maybe slight demolitions over there.
Okay. So for people of Ablekuma West, this is what your member of parliament says. On Tuesday, there's a stakeholders meeting.
Yes, in the morning.
Okay, where exactly?
We'll have it at the municipal assembly, the conference room.
Okay, at the municipal assembly, and then they can get some solutions for the current predicament. So, are you still watching Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV? What's the time?
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay, 11 a.m. So take note of that. Reverend, thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure having me.
Of course, for your programs, you always do come.
Yes.
So our reporter will be there to follow up on that.
Definitely.
And then with the producer, we can find out that day for you to come. So we talk about the rest. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure having me. Thank you.
So the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West, Honorable Reverend Dr. Kweku Adwen. That's our wrapping up the show. Happy birthday to Cassius Otulabi, Ewutu Senior West NDC Communication Director, and special aid to Honorable Gizela Tete, MP for Ewutu Senior West. This is coming in from your brother Nana Ejayampo of Metro TV Central Region. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show. My name is Desmond Okrekudan. So have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye-bye.
Chicken. Yeah, you know what to do. Parents, guardians, your Saturdays are about to be beautiful, exciting, and entertaining on Metro TV. You are going to enjoy what is called massive home entertainment with Funny Face. I am back again, children. We are about to celebrate in your schools. We are about to dance in your schools. We are about to do everything we do in your schools. You will enjoy, I will enjoy, neighbors will enjoy. Everybody will enjoy. Children, be ready. We are going to do chicken, cow and chicken, cow and chicken. You just flap your armpit, open it, flap it, open, flap. Yeah. You see me in your school, you just open your armpit and you flap it. Chicken. That's all. You know what to do, my brother.
Time with the Children's President, coming soon on Metro TV.
The tree of life is growing where the spirit never dies.
Anyone who visits the garden gets healing. You won't leave my garden without a touch of the Holy Spirit.
Madame Alberta Ekusika Ado of the Eden Gardens draws us closer to the roots of life and nature.
Matisa eya plants no.
Yes, wakasa pa. You won't hear the plant talk to you, but you feel it in here.
And you know what to do.
You know what to do.
The PL Show is brought to you by Kel Charcoal, Kel 360 and Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Kel, happy smile.
Medical waste is one of the most dangerous forms of waste generated in our society. From used syringes and blood-soaked materials to expired medicines and infectious laboratory waste, healthcare facilities across Ghana generate tons of hazardous waste every day. When improperly managed, these wastes become silent killers, spreading infections, polluting water bodies, and contaminating the air and threatening both public health and the environment. According to Ministry of Health Ghana, about 15% of healthcare waste are considered hazardous and infectious if not managed properly. But despite policies and guidelines, many health facilities continue to struggle with segregation, treatment, transportation, and safe disposal of medical waste. And so this afternoon on the Clean Report, we take a detailed look into the state of medical waste management in Ghana, the dangers confronting healthcare workers and the environment, and the sustainable solutions emerging to protect lives and the environment. My name is Cristando, and this is the Clean Report. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Every healthcare facility generates waste, but not all hospital waste is ordinary waste. Medical waste includes infectious waste, sharps such as needles and blades, pharmaceutical waste, pathological waste, chemical and radioactive waste. The World Health Organization estimates that while most healthcare waste is non-hazardous, a significant portion can be infectious, toxic or radioactive if improperly handled. In Ghana, rapid urbanization, increasing healthcare demand, and population growth have significantly increased medical waste generation in hospitals, clinics, laboratories, and pharmacies. Yet, many facilities lack adequate infrastructure and logistics for proper handling.
Medical waste is indeed a hidden environmental threat, in that medical waste is actually part of the categorization of hazardous waste. So when you take medical waste in general, research indicates that 25% of the waste that is generated from healthcare facilities are considered hazardous. And this comprises of the sharps waste, the infectious waste, the pathological waste, and some pharmaceutical waste. Now, the various impacts of this waste that I've just mentioned vary. So, for example, you take the sharp waste. The sharp waste, when it is not properly managed, for example, a needle, it can cause a needle prick injury, and if that needle was used on an HIV patient or an hepatitis B patient, it implies that the person that was pricked by that particular needle will also be exposed to that particular pathogen, and this can cause emotional stress, family financial impact, and all that. Because if the breadwinner has just been infected with an infection like HIV and hepatitis, it is really devastating. If you take waste like pathological waste, when this waste is not properly managed, which in some days, people just bury the waste in the ground. We realize that this waste seeps into the groundwater, and someone that may have dug his borehole nearby will have the borehole infected, and a whole household can be also infected by this pathological waste that was buried in the ground. We take waste like the general infectious waste. Most healthcare facilities and people just incinerate the waste in single-chambered incinerators, and research indicates that such burning of waste in those chambers releases pollutants, releases furans and dioxins, and these furans and dioxins, they are considered as persistent organic pollutants, which means that it can stay in the atmosphere for about 25 years, 30 years, 40 years without being decomposed. Meaning that someone even in a far country can be exposed by waste that has been burnt here in Ghana. And this waste results in respiratory diseases, and this really affects life. So in general, you could see that if medical waste is not properly managed, the impact is so enormous and can create a whole lot of devastation in our environment.
Across several healthcare facilities in Ghana, challenges persist in the handling and disposal of medical waste. Studies conducted in Ghanaian hospitals revealed inadequate segregation practices, poor adherence to safety protocols, insufficient training, and inadequate protective equipment for waste handlers. In some facilities, hazardous waste is mixed with general waste, increasing the risk of cross-contamination and disease transmission. Other hospitals still rely on outdated incinerators and open burning systems that release toxic emissions into surrounding communities. Limited funding, weak enforcement, logistical constraints, and lack of continuous staff training remain major barriers to effective healthcare waste management.
The current system has a lot of inefficiencies. When you take the entire chain of medical waste management, it starts from the point of generation, then you move to waste segregation, then you move to storage, you move to transportation, then treatment, and then disposal. I can confidently say that at each of these points, there are huge gaps. Let's take the point of generation. You go to various healthcare facilities, you realize that training has been conducted to the various healthcare staff. But then, where they are generating the waste, there are insufficient logistics for the proper segregation of the waste. So you go to certain facilities within the internal storage area like a lab, they have just one bin that is seated there, and this bin collects all types of waste, be it the sharp waste, be it the infectious waste, and also general waste, which must all be separated into various containers. The second stage, you move to the storage of the waste. Ideally, the bins must be about 3, all color-coded, all having bin liners inserted in them. You go to the facilities, there are huge gaps in all this. Some might have the bins but no bin liner. Some might also may not even have the number of bins that are even required. At the external storage area too, the segregation must continue. And over there, there's another huge gap. Some facilities will do well with the internal separation, but then when they are transporting the waste to the external point, they mix everything up and just put it in one bin for one waste contractor to come and pick up the waste. So another huge gap is also identified there. Now at the point of transportation, there's another huge gap in that the transportation too must still sustain the segregation. So there must be a separate track for the transportation of the general waste generated in healthcare facilities. There must be another track for the transportation of the hazardous component of the waste. But about 90% of healthcare facilities will all mix everything up and give it to one contractor. At the point of treatment, that is also another huge gap and another conversation on its own. We realize that there are inefficient waste treatment systems that are currently being used in the country. Some using single-chambered incinerators. Those that are even using the double-chambered incinerators, they are faulty. Some are using some autoclaves that are outmoded. And various technologies that are indeed archaic, that currently the World Health Organization is not even recommending for the treatment of medical waste. And the final thing is the disposal. Segregation must still continue. You must have an isolated area where the treated waste is also placed in. in that although the waste is treated, you are not certain as to whether it is 100% sterile. So you must still take caution by separating or having a segregated place for the disposal of the waste.
Poor medical waste management goes beyond hospitals. Its consequences affect entire communities. Improper disposal exposes healthcare workers, patients, waste pickers, and nearby residents to infections including hepatitis, typhoid, and HIV transmission through contaminated sharps and materials. Environmental experts also warn that open burning and poorly managed incineration release harmful pollutants into the atmosphere. Leachate from poorly managed disposal sites can contaminate groundwater and nearby water bodies, threatening food systems and drinking water sources. The challenge became even more pronounced during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the use of disposal PPE, masks, gloves, and testing materials significantly increased healthcare waste volumes globally. Despite the challenges, Ghana is making efforts towards safer and more sustainable healthcare waste management. The Ministry of Health launched national healthcare waste management policies and technical guidelines to strengthen regulation and improve standards nationwide. International partnerships are also helping selected hospitals adopt safer technologies such as autoclave systems, which sterilize infectious waste without the harmful emissions associated with traditional incineration. Experts say sustainable medical waste management requires proper segregation at source, continuous staff training, investment in modern treatment technologies, strong enforcement of regulations, adequate PPE for handlers, public-private collaboration, monitoring and data systems. Emerging innovations, including digital tracking systems and AI-assisted waste sorting technologies, may further improve efficiency and safety in the future.
So with these challenges on board, that is where medical waste services comes in. Medical waste services, before inception, we did a holistic assessment of various healthcare facilities in Ghana, identified the gaps that were existing, and then we brought in solutions that will solve this permanently in a more sustainable fashion. So what we do is that right from the point of the waste generation, we first of all train all the healthcare facility staff in the proper ways of waste segregation, waste storage, transportation, and final disposal. We offer certificates of training to the staff. Then we bridge the gap of the lack of waste logistics by providing internal storage bins. This range between about 40 to 60 litres in size. We also provide the color-coded liners, black for general waste, yellow for infectious waste, red for pathological waste, and we also add the sharp container. Facilities that generate pharmaceutical waste and chemical waste, we offer them with a brown bin liner, which is in accordance with the color coding system for the Ghana Health Service. When this is in place now, it promotes efficient segregation of the waste. We as medical waste services, what we do is to just only collect the hazardous components of the waste and treat it as such. The other general waste, which is non-infectious, can be handled by any other general waste contractor. So from our end, what we do is that also at the external storage, we have special bins that we give to our clients, bins that are labeled, this is general infectious waste, this is pathological waste, and all that. Then we have specialized trucks that are leak-proof, they are airtight, that when the truck is even moving, you realize that there are no emission of odor because the truck is totally secured. It has a biohazard label on it, giving indication that the truck is transporting hazardous waste. So it is these trucks that we use to collect the various hazardous waste from the various healthcare facilities. Now, when the waste is collected, it is brought straight to our centralized medical waste treatment plants, which are located in various parts of the country. In fact, we have a nationwide coverage. And as we speak, we are serving over 2,000 healthcare facilities in Ghana, both private, public, and also NGO facilities and faith-based facilities. All categories of healthcare facilities, we are serving them. So with this centralized facility, what we have in there is the modernest treatment technologies that you can talk of in the world now. We have a microwave treatment system that has internal shredders. With this system, there are no emission of any form of pollutants into the atmosphere. So this is purely non-incineration systems that we put in place. And this gives us 99.9% sterility of the waste. So you realize that every waste that we bring in there to treat is safe for final disposal. With the system that we put in place, you realize that within the centralized facility, there's also a cold room where we can temporarily store the waste that has been collected in bulk. In this cold room, temperatures of 4 degrees Celsius and below is what we sustain in there. So every form of waste that is placed in there, the rate of proliferation of the microorganisms are totally reduced. So the decomposition rate is also reduced. So that is how come we're able to store the waste in a hygienic manner. When the waste is treated, we have another area where we call the container washing room. All the containers used for the various processes are clean, washed over there. We ensure that the infection prevention control standards are met to the fullest. World Health Organization recommendations on the various processes of medical waste management are fully adhered to. Now, when it comes to our site, we have our own dedicated landfill site, engineered ones, of course, where we dispose the final treated waste when we are done. Now, as a company, we've also taken another step into the future. What are we doing? What we are doing is that the treated waste, we are obtaining value from it. So we've started constructing bricks and blocks, this construction pavement blocks and all that with the treated waste. We've also started a research where we are extracting the plastics from the treated waste, because let us take note of the fact that plastics that are used in the medical industry, they are of high grade. So they are of more value than even the conventional plastics that we have. So in extracting this, we are converting these plastics into sharp boxes and sharp containers, which can also be used again in the various healthcare facilities for the separation of the sharps, such as the needles and the razor and etc. So you realize that our entire chain of operation is promoting sustainability.